everybody to a quick review of the game Indivisible. Now, quick 2 disclaimers before we start. Disclaimer number 1 is that these are obviously my personal opinions on the game. I'm going to be talking about some pros, some cons, and just overall thoughts. If you do not agree with it, I completely understand. Just leave a comment down below. Let me know what you don't agree with or what you do agree with. Disclaimer number 2 is that I will be talking about all aspects of the game. So if you haven't played the game and you do not want it to spoil for you, keep in mind, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Now with that out of the way, let's get into it. Now let's start with the pros. Starting with the obvious is the visuals. The visuals are great. The 2D hand-drawn sprites, even on a 3D background, look great. They look amazing. They did a great job. They did a great job keeping the characters completely different from one another, keeping the color tones vibrant, well lit, keeping the atmosphere all together. From the small cutscenes down to the battles. Never feels like your characters do anything out of character. It feels very rooted to the ground. Now with the obvious out of the way, let's get into some very happy surprises that this game was packed with. Voice acting was phenomenal. The voice acting was great. From the different characters to the different dialects, accents, the voice actors did a phenomenal job keeping tune with the situation, the environment, and their characters. In my opinion, I never felt like their accents ever fluctuated, got thicker, got thinner, and the voices were very in tune with the character models. They really sold you the character with the voices.
She noticed you were missing, so she took your sisters in for questioning.
They're talking to me! They have your sisters. Isn't that bad? Actually, boy.
That packed with some great music and some vibrant environments. It's a game that you gotta get lost in and you want to find out more about. You want to explore and just have this story unfold right before you.
If I may, I think I have a solution to get out of here.
I'm all ears.
Use some of my ID. Feel it in your mind. Now pull out your bow. Visualize my ID becoming your arrow.
Oh! I see.
Now this game has 2 main aspects to it. 1 is the battle mechanics. 2 is the platforming as you get from battle to battle. Now these 2 main parts of the game feel extremely rewarding. As you platform through, as you battle, as you grow, as you progress in the storyline, you can unlock new abilities that you can use that Ashna doesn't just use in battle, but she uses as a part of platforming, giving you access to new areas of environments you already traversed. Now I'm a fan of Pokemon, in the sense that I've played turn-based games and I've enjoyed them, but sometimes in most games I do get turned down by the idea of only attacking on my turn and not being able to do anything else until it's my turn again. This is where this game takes a different approach. Instead of taking turns in between battles, you have a real-time stamina bar. With each single one of your 4 characters having their own stamina bar, becomes like a resource management minigame, where you could use all your characters at once, or you could play off of them and do different combinations. Once you get to know not just your characters, but your enemies, you could do some really good combos. This battle system just feels fulfilling at the end of the day. Pulling off that combo, getting to juggle your enemies as you're doing these resources and getting to know your different characters, it's rewarding. Now, we'll have to sit here and tell you that this game is amazing and it has no flaws, but it's time to move over to the cons. Now, all the cons are not going to be exactly negative, but there's some definite room for improvement here that I feel can make the game a lot better. First example would be the storyline. Do you like anime? Because if you do, you're going to have a blast with this storyline. I mean, within the first 10 minutes of the game, you're going to run into every anime cliche you can think of. Some might not like that, some might. I personally enjoyed it, but I know not everybody will. This next part kind of piggybacks on the point that I made earlier, which was talking about how the characters are unique and so different from one another. I do appreciate that in the game, and I do enjoy that from this game. But I did feel like there was a lack of customization within the characters themselves. I would have felt like growing with these characters that are using in battle, leveling them up and getting different types of attack independently from one another would have been great. But once you get a character, their movesets are basically stuck. You can't do anything to that character to get different movesets other than upgrading as an emitter to do different specials. Moving on next would be bugs and glitches. I didn't run into a lot of bugs, but I did run into a lot of crashes. Now there was a couple updates that came in and the crashes happened a lot less often, but they still happened. Mostly in between loading screens, moving from one big area to another, it was most likely to crash. My single and biggest pet peeve or problem with this game would be the difficulty spike at the end of the game. I do enjoy my games to be difficult, to give me a sense of achievement and fulfillment as I finish them. And games like Monster Hunter do a good job on ramping up the difficulty until you're fighting something that is extremely difficult, but you have built skills along the way to help you. I don't feel like this game did that well enough. Now the difficulty wasn't the battle system itself, it was the platforming. The platforming was very simple throughout the majority of the game. Jump here, jump there, use your new ability. Up until the end, there's not much difference on your platforming. But once you get to the end, you have to measure your jumps perfectly or you'll die. Once you die, you have to restart the whole platforming sequence all over again. There was a couple times where I felt a sense of accomplishment once I got a section of this platforming done. But the majority of the time, I just felt frustrated. That took away from a lot of the fun I was having with this game. And right up until the end, the battle system was fine. It was great. You do your attacks, you block, sometimes you do your perfect blocks. But right until the last boss battle, if you do not get a perfect block in every single hit, you will lose, triggering you into this cinematic loop where you can skip, but you still need to trigger cinematic in order to skip it, in order to go through the phases of the last fight. And that got me very frustrated. I was happier that I beat that last part just because of how frustrating it was, more than I got to experience the whole game. Now moving on to my overall thoughts. I feel like this game has a lot to offer to a whole bunch of different gamers in different genres. Players that enjoy their Valkyrie Chronicles and their Fire Emblems are going to love this game. It's going to be another game in a genre just like it that offer a couple different things. Or gamers that aren't really into RTSs or time-based battles can have this as a gateway to a different genre of gaming. Overall, I think the game's great, but it definitely shows that the game was a part of Kickstarter. And in some parts, it feels rushed. If they're thinking about making a sequel to this game or another game in its universe, a developer actually picks up the project and gives them a proper budget. That way they don't have to outsource into a Kickstarter and rush parts of the game that would otherwise be great. Well, those are my thoughts and opinions, pros and cons. If you guys agree or disagree, leave a comment down below, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.